but I'm going to lay it out and you give me the answer. So when I watch the Rams, they have 4 or 5 sets, but they run a lot off it. And they give you a lot of looks and a lot of misdirection. And let's just say that we agree that both teams have nice weapons. Both teams have very nice weapons. But when I watched the Cowboys last night, it doesn't feel what you would say is multiple. I kind of feel like it's a little generic at times, which feels like it puts more on the quarterback to be special. And I don't particularly think Dak is like, upper tier special. When I watched, I just thought, this is what I've grown accustomed to when I watch Dallas in big spots. They're good, they're competent, but this is what I see. And are they multiple enough? Are they creative and versatile enough as a coach? What do you see?
I don't disagree. No, I think that's a really good observation. I was talking to our friend Ryan Russillo earlier this morning about Dak, and I was talking about how he does everything well. So the danger when your quarterback does everything well is to call system plays and forget that there's things he does best and call quarterback plays. And I think what I saw last night is, Dak is great at action. Dak is a threat as a runner. Dak is great with misdirection when there's more of the Saturday flair with jet motions, misdirections, movements, creative screens. And there wasn't a lot of that. There was a lot of just traditional drop back pass, which he's good at. I'm not knocking him, but he's not great at it yet. I think one thing you see in the Rams and when you're watching the two differences between the two offenses, the Rams are super creative with screens, movement, changing the launch point. Very rarely do they just catch, drop back, and throw. They do what Jared does best as much as possible. And I think as these coaching staffs, and Mike McCarthy's new to the Cowboys, he's got to learn what Dak does best and maybe insert his voice into that and say, listen, yeah, Dak does this well, and we can drop back and throw the ball on third down, and there's times we're going to drop back and throw it. But what he does best is this, so let's make sure we're emphasizing the stuff he does best. And again, the movement, the action, the creativity, that Saturday offense, and using him as a runner. I think it's foolish when you don't use these quarterbacks as runners because it puts such pressure on the defenses to give you defined looks.
I thought Tom was better than all the narratives this morning. I thought he threw the ball very well deep. He had a miscommunication error. But I said, God, when the schedule came out 3 months ago, we all put this down as an L. I mean, no preseason, no OTAs. I thought Tommy looked pretty good. I just think they're going to look different against Carolina's defense. They're going to look different in October. I mean, I don't see any panic, right?
No panic. But listen, even with preseason, I always thought the first four games, the regular seasons, were a glorified preseason because the limited OTAs, the limited opportunities they have in the offseason now. Now you put COVID on top of that. They had no spring ball. They had no summer ball. Now no training camp. And you're talking about Tom Brady, who is a brain surgeon quarterback, meeting Bruce Arians, who has a different philosophy. It's going to take time for these two to gel. It's going to take time for the skill position guys to catch up to Tom and to think the same thoughts as him. It's going to take time for the offensive line to learn how Tom communicates to the line of scrimmage, to pick up exotics on different blitzes. This might be tough sledding here for 3 to 5 weeks, but I do think that give them, if they can just stay alive in it, if they can be a 500 football team till the halfway mark, then I think you're really going to see Tom Brady's fingerprint on this offense, and you're going to see a little gasoline poured on it the back stretch of the season.
It's interesting. I always wonder how it plays. You can fool me. You can't fool players. And yesterday, like Arizona's like, Kyler, go, 40 throws. Kirk Cousins, 5 throws at half. Like I was saying this about Minnesota. I'm done hearing about, they'll have a 4 or 5 game winning streak. Mike Zimmer's a good coach. But there's such a message to me when I watch Kyler Murray that's so encouraging if I was a teammate. Kid, go for it. And then I watch Kirk Cousins, and the messaging to teammates is we're protecting him. Like, I just can't get past that with Minnesota. I can't get past it you tell me, what is the messaging in the locker room when you're protecting a quarterback, not arming him, not encouraging him?
Yeah, I think with Kirk in particular, it's a delicate balance. Zimmer being a take of the air out of the ball guy, a defensive-centric guy, he's not ever going to want to be a high-volume thrower. The problem is that Kirk Cousins plays his best as a high-volume thrower.
Yeah.
So they have to find that delicate balance. I think they just need to seek balance. It doesn't have to be run first, doesn't have to be pass first. It's, hey, at the end of the game, if we're going to have 65 plays, let's have 33 passes and 32 runs, or 33 runs and 32 passes. If they seek balance, you're going to get the most out of Kirk Cousins. He's another guy. He is fantastic as an action passer. You put his back to the line of scrimmage, put the ball in the belly. He cut the field in half. He's a dynamic second-level thrower. He's a guy that's going to get you a lot of big plays. They have good skill position guys. That is set up off running the football. So if you're kind of a mid-90s football team with the Minnesota Vikings, you're going to be a successful football team where you're a lot of dot back runs, a lot of opportunities to let your offensive line go forward, and then let Kirk take advantage of those opportunities and push the ball down the field. But when you sequester a guy and only let him throw 5 times in the first half, that's a volume thrower. You're not going to get the most out of him come the second half. It's not like you can just turn the key and say, okay, Kirk, now go throw it 30 times in the second half because we're behind and be you. These guys need rhythm. Troy Aikman was a great example of this. Troy Aikman was a guy that would always need to throw the ball in the first half more than run it. And they had Emmitt Smith. And if you notice, a lot of Troy's Super Bowl years, they would throw it 16 to 20 times in the first half, get a lead, and then take the air out of the ball in the second half. Troy wasn't as great. He was always great, but he wasn't as great if it was 6 passes in the first half and now go throw it 25 in the second. He was a guy that had to get going, had to be a legend in his own mind, feel like he was running the show. And in the second half with the 10-point lead, hey, give it to Emmitt, let him roll.
Yeah. By the way, Joe Burrow's debut, what'd you make of it? Good, bad, ugly. What'd you make?
I like his presence. What I love about Joe Burrow is his presence. He doesn't flinch. Nothing's going to rattle him. He made enough plays where you saw kind of his splash value, you know, the draw play, you saw his athleticism. He made some really nice throws. Thought he made a great throw on the touchdown, was called back. It was a good call, but that was a great throw to the pylon, high and away to A.J. Green. But his poise, his presence, his toughness, those are the things that are going to allow him to play for 10, 15 years. There's a lot of talented guys. Joe's not more overly talented than the next guy, but he does have that intangible makeup that can make him special, and that's what showed yesterday.
You know, I'm too critical of Baker Mayfield, but fourth coach, same mistakes, his accuracy.
No,
I don't see it. I don't get it. You keep giving him weapons, and I get the same guy, right? Like what am I missing on him? I just think he's a limited player. That's what I see.
I mean, I feel like I said this, I think week 1 last year. I said it week 6 last year, and week 9 last year, and week 13 last year. Dan Orlowski said this morning on Get Up on ESPN, everybody's starting to realize it. He has an identity crisis as a quarterback. He doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know what his DNA is. He tries to play the game like Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray when he needs to play it like Drew Brees. Gardner Minshew is a better quarterback because he plays the position the way he knows he has to play it. Baker has to play it the same way. He'll still make a splash play here or there. He is a good enough athlete to extend plays every once in a while, but he's got to trust his feet. His feet and his eyes have to be talking to each other. This is a craft position. This is not a wingman in the NBA where you dribble, drive, dunk. Okay, this is a craftsmanship position. He plays with no craft. As soon as he learns to be a craftsman, he'll be a very, very good NFL quarterback. But he hasn't figured it out yet. And his coaches haven't figured it out, because if they had, they should be drilling this into him every single second of every single day. You can't be bouncing back there. You can't be trying to be an athlete all the time. Play the position the way it was designed to be played. Play it as a craftsman, or you're not going to be successful.
By the way, Lamar Jackson yesterday, and I said this, is the difference between winning playoff games and a Super Bowl is, can you play from behind? The difference between being great and a legend is, can you play from behind? Russell Wilson, Mahomes have shown that. They trail. They look like the same guy. So that, to me, now yesterday it's hard to, they were leading. I think Lamar plays very well downhill. But I got to tell you, when I watched him yesterday, he looked better than even last year. Like, all I know is that kid works in the offseason, Trent, because, there's a lot of critics of him. I'm done with that. Like, he looked better yesterday than the end of last year, right?
Yeah, in a very short amount of time, Lamar's now put himself in that category where really the only time we'll criticize him is if he doesn't win a Super Bowl. I mean, he's in rare air. It's going to come down to the AFC Championship game. It's going to come down to the Super Bowl. That's how we're going to judge Lamar Jackson. He's going to light the league on fire. It's going to be him and Mahomes and Aaron and Deshaun